I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me about Dodgebomb and everything that you put into it. It's writing a book is obviously a very much a serious endeavor for a lot of people. I'm sure it took you a lot of time to put that together. But what I want to do right now is just if you don't mind, just take a moment to introduce yourself, do a little elevator pitch, if you will, about who you are and where you're from, even what you're doing now, just so people can get a good understanding of who we're speaking with today.
Okay. Well, hey, hello everyone. I'm Darin Pepple. I'm originally from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I grew up there, and when I was 18, 2000, I enlisted in the Army. After a few years in the Army, I got the opportunity to go to West Point, which was awesome. And I graduated in 2007 as a second lieutenant field artillery, and went out into the Army and served in the Army until about 2015, which then I decided to get out and go pursue other things. After sort of reaching that milestone in 2015 of being a captain and a battery commander, I was looking for kind of the next stage in my life and had started to get a little, I guess, disillusioned with the garrison army. So I decided the next best thing to do would be to go to school, and went to Washington, D.C., where I went to George Washington University and got a master's in business administration. And I graduated in 2017 from there. And since then, have worked in the area as a defense contractor, IT project manager for General Dynamics, IT, just, obviously managing big defense contracts for the government.
Interesting. Well, it's actually, there's a lot to talk about with your background, which I think is really neat, especially as I got in the book, because I noticed, because you were a field artillery officer, and I know I'm trying to pace this conversation, so to speak, but would you mind just taking a moment, so prior enlisted, what was your MOS when you were prior enlisted?
I was actually, if you believe it, I was an air defense artillery guy, and they had Bradley, which is a light tank and infantry fighting vehicle, and there was a Stinger pod on the side for shooting down airplanes. And so I was everything on the Bradley, from loader up to driver to gunner, and then go to West Point and still wanted to be in combat arms because that's where the fun is, and got into artillery. And then that was all indirect fires, right? It's cannon, rocket, mortar fires. But then the actual sort of interesting thing is, then you go out into the actual Army and you may or may not do that. So when I was in my first tour in Iraq, I was a fire support officer, with a cav troop, to bring in the indirect fires to, support us. But in also actuality, I was a platoon leader, and we were essentially mechanized infantry and scouts driving around, looking for bad guys and dodging bombs. So that's kind of how, here's what you are on paper, and then, oh, actually, you're going to do this and be doing just a Johnny of all trades for anything else the Army tells you to do.
That's really interesting. Well, I mean, it's really funny hearing this from you, because I don't think we've actually talked about ourselves, about our past together as far as being in the Army. And, I was, being a field artillery officer, of course, we ran into each other at Captain's Career Course, which was fun. And it's just really funny just to kind of, recap a lot of these experiences, especially in your book. I had a lot of fun, going through that. But what I thought was really neat was just reading what the experiences you had and just recognizing the differences. So when you deployed as an officer, you only deployed once as an officer, is that correct?
No, I deployed 3 times, twice to Iraq. First in 2008, second in 2010, 2011 during Operation New Dawn, to kind of wrap up Iraq. And then actually a third time to the Emirates, right outside of Dubai, where we had our rocket launchers just essentially set up over there in case anything got weird. So 3 very different deployments to the Middle East.
Interesting. Yeah. So I imagine the 2008 and 2010 deployments were significantly different because of, it almost sounds, if I had to guess, the Dodgebomb experience kind of lends more towards the 2008 experience. Is that right?
Correct. Because that's when it's the surge in the war, and you're still seeing how U.S. forces are figuring things out. And it's past the 2003 invasion where we just crushed the Iraqi army. But then now we're starting to see the, ascendance of Al-Qaeda, but also as a counterpoint to that, the Iraqi government's starting to become into existence. And then you have the Sunni and the Shia Arabs, in Iraq that are actually trying to fight Al-Qaeda and other sort of jihadist forces.
Right.
And it's just a very interesting and strange time because we're still with like this let's hunt bad guys mentality, but then we're also reconstructing Iraq.